is a brand new 1971 K5 Blazer. This truck came to us about 1.5 years ago needing a full restoration. And what we have created is, in my opinion, and by the end of this video, your opinion, the best K5 Blazer that has ever been built. What you're looking at is a brand new body. Every single piece of steel on this has been replaced. The fenders, the hood, the doors, the windshield frame, the floor, every single piece of steel is new. The only piece of original steel on this truck is the Ventag. Now, what makes the best K5 Blazer? A small block Chevy? Nope. An original chassis with leaf springs? Absolutely not. The cream of the crop under the hood, that's a GM Performance 655 horsepower LT4. You'll notice this is the dry sump Corvette engine. I tell everybody, in my opinion, the LT4 is actually the second best part of this truck. The single best part, the 8L90 8-speed automatic sitting behind it. We get a lot of these classic vehicles in here, and I tell people this all the time. I just had a conversation with a guy about 20 minutes ago about a 1971 Skylark. When it comes to putting horsepower into a classic car, horsepower is one thing, but putting the power to the ground and doing it efficiently is, in my opinion, the most important thing. And the 8-speed automatic is the way of getting it there. Modern transmissions have come a long way. 6 speeds, 8 speeds, 10 speeds, they're great. And in my opinion, paired with a big truck, this 8-speed is perfect. Now, this isn't just high horsepower and an 8-speed automatic transmission with a new body. This thing is loaded in features. Come around, we'll take a look under the hood here. You'll notice this has an AC compressor. It is outfitted with air conditioning. This is also equipped with power steering, power brakes, aluminum radiator, and electric fans. You'll also notice everything under the hood of this truck has a perfect fit and finish. Everything is base coat, clear coat, polished to a perfect finish. You'll notice you can stare down the side of this truck and the image is not broken up at all. This is by far one of the slickest paint jobs that we have done. As we make our way around the truck, we're going to point out a couple other features that this thing has. One of the biggest features that I like to point out is the Roadster shop chassis. So you'll notice if you look down here that this has Fox long travel suspension, and that is a Roadster shop chassis. The Roadster shop chassis comes with a lot of added features. Getting rid of the leaf springs. If you've not driven a front leaf spring straight axle truck, they ride horribly like a log wagon, and they're not comfortable and they're not really safe to a lot of people. If you didn't grow up driving something like this, you're not going to feel very comfortable driving it if it has leaf springs. So the Roadster shop chassis converts everything to a coilover shock. Rides nice, handles well, and it's a significant improvement. The chassis doesn't just stop at the suspension alone. This has billet aluminum tow hooks. This also has 6-piston front brakes and 6-piston rear brakes. So that's a lot of stopping power, which is what you want on a heavy, high horsepower vehicle. Now you'll notice that this is also equipped with power folding side steps. So when we build our full resto mods, we always think about ways of improving the vehicle and making it more luxurious and easier to drive. So we don't just stop at the power folding side steps. Inside, we also have, this is fully loaded with audio. So this has a full Focal audio system. This has 2 speakers in the dash, 2 speakers in the kick panels. It's got speakers in the bedsides and subwoofers under the back seat. But if you look around, you really don't see any of that. Everything is very well hidden. And we do that to keep the classic styling of the truck. This would not look nearly as good if there was a giant screen in the middle and there were these big fiberglass speaker panels. It would kind of take away from that classic design. Ultimately, what we want to build is a truck that looks 1971 with a few nice added features. So like even the stereo, for example. The stereo looks like it belongs in a 71 K5 Blazer. The gauges, for example, are almost one-to-one replicas of the original gauge cluster. We'll go ahead and key this on. So you'll notice the big difference is the font is a little bit different. The layout is slightly different. Obviously, there's a digital odometer, but because it's got, the LT4, our tachometer reads more than 5,000 RPM, and our speedometer goes a lot higher than 80 miles an hour, or 55, 60, whatever they used back in the day. So furthermore about the audio, one of the reasons we like doing a nice, loud audio system in open-top vehicles is because of how loud everything can be. When you're driving down the interstate at 70, 80 miles an hour, there's a lot of wind noise, there's a lot of wind turbulence. And you can have a great audio system that sounds really nice when you're parked, but as soon as you get on the interstate, you can no longer hear it. What comes to mind is like a Polaris slingshot. Over the years, we've had several Polaris slingshots come in, and that's like the #1 complaint is the stereo sucks when I'm on the interstate. So what we try to do is get an audio system in one of these vehicles, like what you would see on a brand new tri-tune boat. You want something where, you know, you're on the lake, you're cruising around, you're able to hear your stereo. We kind of put that same train of thought into building these K5s. You'll notice I'm sitting in a nice leather-wrapped seat. So these seats started out as original K5 Blazer seats. We have completely stripped them down, rebuilt the frames, re-welded a lot of pieces of the metal to make sure everything is structurally sound. But what you'll notice is the upholstery is custom. So this is Morin Giles black leather, and we have put in the red inserts to give it this style. We've done another K5 Blazer basically identical to this. Really the only difference is being the interior color choice and the exterior color choice and the wheels. Beyond that, as far as the interior goes, we also have brand new carpet. Underneath the carpet is sound deadening, so the whole truck is sound deadened front to back. That way it reduces road noise and it reduces any vibration from the booming audio system. Now that we're in the back seat, let's talk about a few of the features we've added back here. From your point of view right now, it might look fairly plain, but a couple things that we did, again, getting back to some of the audio things, is we added the 6x9 speakers in the bedsides. Now, when we upholstered all of this is custom done, and we also routed our own speaker bezels to kind of hide the speaker but give it a nice clean look. Right beneath that, you'll notice we've added puddle lights. So that way when you open the doors or have the key on, if you need some lights back here, you have illumination throughout the truck. Now, one thing I didn't mention when we were up front was the way that the seats are actually upholstered. So originally these seats were Springer seats. We actually removed the springs from the seats and put memory foam in. That actually firmed the seat up and gives you a lot more support. So all three of these seats are significantly more comfortable than they were in 1971. You'll notice we also have a leather-wrapped center console. So that is basically an original K5 Blazer center console that's been rewrapped, and then we've got the aluminum inserts for the cup holders. Lastly, we also have the factory K5 Blazer roll cage. The K5 Blazer roll cage is rather hard to find. This is something that we always try to find a nice original part to completely refurbish and put in our Restomods. Now let's talk about exterior lighting. You'll notice that everything on this truck has been converted to LED. So we have LED headlights, LED turn signals, LED side markers. Everything is LED. It's super bright, and it makes the truck look very modern. Again, kind of what we were going for when we were building this is, if Chevrolet built a brand new K5 Blazer, what would it look like? I think it would look something like this. It would look old school, but be loaded with all the modern features. And that's what we've delivered with here. So we've gone over a lot of the details of this K5 Blazer. I know we already mentioned it's a brand new body. Basically, everything is brand new. Actually, not basically, everything is brand new. There's not one piece of used steel or original part on this truck. And any parts that are original, like the roll cage, have been completely refurbished. Carrying on forward with the body stuff, I always like to mention when it comes to welding up the body. So again, we do all of our own body work in-house. Again, every single piece of steel is brand new, and we weld the bodies together. We don't buy a body that's pre-welded. We buy all the pieces and we put it together in-house. When we do that, what we also do is we will weld additional steel onto panels to cut our own door gaps. So for example, you'll notice the entire door gap, front, back, and bottom, are symmetrical. So that way, in 1971, these panels didn't fit this nice. None of these panels fit this nice. So when we go through and do all the body work, we perfect these things. And what that gets you is that gets you doors that open and close real smooth, and that gives you panel gaps where the body of the truck looking down the side of it look perfect. Another thing is perfecting side trim. I go to a lot of the Barrett-Jackson and Mecum auctions, and every time I go to these auctions, I look at all the vehicles that we are currently building to look and see how other people's fit and finish are. One of the big things that stand out on the first gen Blazers or the early Chevy C10s is the trim. So next time you're at an auction or at a car show, take a look and see how well the trim fits from panel to panel. Because what I've noticed at a lot of these shows, you'll notice where the front of the trim actually hangs off the fender, or if you step back and look at it, it's not actually perfectly lined up. This panel might be slightly lower and this one be slightly higher. Now, how do we fix that? when we're performing all the body work on these trucks before we get everything ready for paint, we will go through and mock up all of the trim before we get to paint work. So all of the holes and everything needed for this is symmetrical from panel to panel. You don't have panels where the holes are drilled slightly higher or slightly lower. Again, ensuring perfect fit and finish when we're completed with it. So yeah, that's our 71 K5 Blazer Restomod. There's not enough hours in the day to go through all of the details that this thing has, but as you can tell, it is a very high quality build. If you are interested in building an exact K5 Blazer like this, or any other Restomod or vehicle restoration, we do everything here in-house. Here at Slate Performance, we do everything that is done to this. We buy the engines, we buy the transmissions, the chassis, and everything gets assembled here. We have our own mechanics, we have our own body shop technicians, we have our own painters, we have our own upholstery shop in-house, as well as our own dyno with our own in-house tuner. So if you're looking to build a ride for yourself or somebody else, that's a great gift. And you want to do a custom build or a full restoration, send us an email, slateperformance@gmail.com, or visit our website, slateperformanceautomotive.com. My name's Ryan. Again, I appreciate you guys watching this video. We'll talk to you soon.